Rabotai, we have to know Vayeshev Yaakov, Beretz Megurei Aviv, Beretz Canaan. There's one of the most famous Rashis over here. And we know, it says, Bikesh Yaakov Leshev Beshalva. Right? What does it say over here? It says, Yaakov, he wanted to sit Beshalva. And what happens? Hashem says, Lo dai lahem. Right? Kafatz alav rugzot shel Yosef. Tzadikim mevakshim leshev beshalva. Tzadikim want to sit beshalva. Omer HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Hashem says, Lo dayan latzadikim ma shemetukan lahem l'olam haba. It's not enough what they have in olam haba. Ela shemevakshim leshev beshalva olam hazeh. They want to relax. They want to just relax in this world. Now we have to understand something. Why do you think Yaakov wanted to relax? You think he wanted to relax in order what? In order to what? He wanted to relax in order what? In order to be able to learn more. That's all. That's all. Think about his whole life. He had Yaakov, he had Lavan, he had to fight with Esav, he had to fight with Lavan, he got tricked with his wives. He had to walk so many years. He tricked again. Something happened to his daughter Dinah, his son Yosef. What do you want from him? He wants to Leshev B'Shalva. Why does he want to Leshev B'Shalva, Mikey? What's the reason? To shteik, to learn more. So what's the problem? It's not enough. But tzaddikim, they also want Leshev B'Shalva. Oh, that's it. Sorry, you can't do that. Why? Why not? What's the problem? I don't understand. What is the problem? What is the problem? And you know what the answer is? I'll tell you the very simple answer. You know, one time they came to one bacha came to one Rosh Yeshiva and he told him, you know, if I had the emunah like Rav Chatzkel Levenstein, and if I had the brains like the Brisker Rav, and if I had the emunah, and if I had this like the Hazoni, I would be the greatest of the great. If I had the brains of this rabbi, and I had the emunah of that rabbi, and I had the simha of that rabbi, I'll be the greatest of the great. And the rabbi told him, with your heart, with your brains. Hashem wants you, with your heart, with your brains. He says, but Rabbi, it's hard. He says, listen, let me tell you something. Every person in life is having the challenge. Every person. But why? You say, why? I want to tell you something. The schar in Shamayim, when a person is a little bit more harder, it intensifies much greater. The schar that a person gets when it's harder, it intensifies the reward much greater. I told you the famous Rav Aaron Kotler. When the bacha came to Rav Aaron Kotler, the guy came to young yeshiva guy came to Rav Aaron Kotler and he says, Rabbi! He says, what? He says, I can't learn. He says, why not? I just don't have a desire to learn. Rav Aaron Kotler told him, the Rosh Yeshiva of Lakewood. He said, I wish I was you. He says, why do you wish you were me? He said, because I never had that opportunity that when I'm not in the mood to learn, I learned anyway. So I understand. The Rosh Yeshiva is telling you, jealous of him, I wish I had the opportunity. What do you mean? That you have the best opportunity. No, the answer is, what we're trying to bring out a point is, that yes, at the end of the day, it might not be the most smoothest road. It might not be the most gliding. It might have bumps in the road, but that is the point, to see how you're going to react when something happens to you. You know, when Yaakov, there's a famous Orah Haim HaKadosh on this. When Yaakov had Kfitzat HaDerech, right? When he was going to Lavan, he had Har Moriah came Kfitzat HaDerech. So how come when he was when he was leaving Lavan, it says, Lavan, they were 3 days apart. Lavan caught up to Yaakov. Let Yaakov have Kfitzat HaDerech. Let him go quicker. What happened? On the way there, what happened? We had to go to Har Moriah. Yaakov had to go to Har Moriah, and it says he had Kfitzat HaDerech. It became much shorter for him to get to his destination. So now, how come on the way back, when it came to Lavan, it doesn't say that, he had Kfitzat HaDerech, he got there very quickly. It doesn't say that. It says that actually Lavan was 3 days away from him, and yet he caught up to him. Why? Let him not caught up. Let Hashem make a miracle. Let him go faster than Lavan, like he did the miracle of Har Moriah, like he got the mountain closer. What's the answer? Rahim HaKadosh says, because Hashem wanted to show me, Yaakov didn't want anybody to think that I can't deal with Lavan again. Don't think I ran away because I can't deal with him. I'll still deal with him. You think it's over? I'll still deal with him. You want to trick me again? I'll still deal with you. Let's hear. Let me hear what you have to say. I'm ready. I'll confront you. I'll hear what you have to say. I'll take the challenge. I'm ready. And this is what life is about. Life isn't, if everything was smooth, if you had everything going for you, so there's no challenge. You know, it says, it says there'll be days that people are going to say, I don't desire these days. And one of the things is the days of Mashiach. Says, the days of Mashiach you're not going to desire? Yes. Why? The answer is because everything's going to be so smooth. Everything's going to be smooth. You have nothing to worry about parnasah. You have nothing to worry about fight. You have nothing to worry about. Everything's going to be shalom. There's all going to be peace in the world. There's all going to be ahdut in the world. There's all going to be no worries about anything you have in your life. Zero. No worries about zero. Nothing. So you say, so why? And everybody's going to see Hashem's Echad, and everybody's going to see Hashem's oneness, and everybody's going to see everything clearly. Everything's wow. So why don't I want to desire these days? Because when those days come, guess what? The reward is going to be much less. Because everything's going, what do you want? But now it's challenging. How are you going to step up to the challenge? Are you going to be a baby and cry about it and say, oh, why this, why that, why this? There's a lot of complainers out there. Oh, others complaining about this, complaining about that, complaining about this, complaining about that. No. How are you going to do it? A guy tells me, tzitzit, Rabbi, I wear tzitzit in the winter. Summer I don't wear. I say, why? Why not? It's too hot, Rabbi. Summer is too hot, Rabbi. I can't. Says that's exactly the point. We're challenging you. Now in the summer, how are you going to wait? You have a challenge. Oh, lady, it's tzniut. In the winter, yeah, it's tzniut. Oh, wait. And what about in the summer? Oh, it's too hot, Rabbi. What do you mean? That's a challenge. Let me hear. What are you going to do in the challenge? What are you going to stay in the challenge? Are you going to step up to the challenge or not? And that's the same thing. I got the biggest chizuk. There was one person over here that came over to me once, and he gave me the biggest chizuk. He told me he's in business for about 30 years. And what was the chizuk that he told me? He said, today, one of my big clients said he's moving on to a different person to buy his goods. So I said, how do you feel? He said, he's promising. He said, I don't want to promise, but I'll tell you the truth. I feel great. I said, why do you feel great? He said, because I'm in business for so long that I've seen so many times that when Hashem's testing me like this, it's all a test. And if this guy leaves, another guy will come. That's all. And if he doesn't come, that'll be the best thing. I can't do anything. What can I do? I can't do anything. So if I can't do anything, why should I worry? What am I worrying about? This guy is supposed to be great. If he cannot or he doesn't, great. Says, what do you mean? You know, there's a famous story in Bnei Brak. This is a people where they have above, where they look in the big picture, where if it's not this, it's that. There's a very famous, what happened? There was a person in Bnei Brak, a very religious man. He had a copy center. One of these copy centers. It's a very amazing story. He had these copy centers back and forth, making all these different copy centers and things like that. And printing sefarim and printing this, printing that. So one guy in the neighborhood sees he's rocking and rolling. He's doing amazing. So what does he do? He opens up 2 blocks away, a block away, across the street, exactly the spot it was nearby. So what happens that day, so his sons find out about it. He says, Daddy, could we go approach him? He said, no. He says, why not? Because this guy did me the biggest favor. He says, why? He says, he's taking some of your customers. He's taking some customers, but he's not taking away my parnasah. He says, what do you mean, Dad? We see some of your customers going to him. He's taking away your parnasah. He says, no. With the less customers, I'll make the same amount of money. Now I have to deal with so many people, I'll make the same exact amount of money. So that's the emunah that he has. Because there's challenges in life, and it's not going to end. And don't think, oh, you're done with it. Don't think I'm done. The Pasuk says, the Gemara says, don't believe in yourself until the day of death. Why? Because the challenge is not over. Every breath that you're in this world, guess what? Yes, there could be another challenge. And yes, you have to step up to the challenge. You can't be a baby and hide behind the curtain and say, this one I can't do. No, this I can't do. Why? Because the Rashi is teaching us such a big lesson. You know what the lesson is? The reward is so great. And when you know the reward is so great, then guess what? You could face any challenge put in front of you. Yes. And don't tell me you can't. If you really believe that the reward is so great, then you could pass any challenge. Any challenge. I'll tell you. There was a person that he came from out of the country. Many years ago, the guys came out of the country and he didn't know English, he didn't know how to do it, he didn't know nothing. The guy was able to teach himself English. And he was able to educate himself, and he was able to make a parnasah. So you asked the guy, what happened? He said, Rabbi, I knew the reward is great, he tells me. He says, what do you mean? He said, I have to support my family. This is the greatest reward for me. Hashem is saying, I'm giving you Gan Eden. Tzaddikim, you do what's right, you do what's good. Your Olam Haba is great. I one time asked Rav Avram David Bender, I said, how did the Havetz Haim become the Havetz Haim? I don't understand. Could you believe the Havetz Haim is known all over the world. He's known everywhere. He passed away about 100 years ago, and still till today. Imagine they speak about you 100 years after the person passed away. You ever hear such a thing? Of course we have the Rishonim, of course. Imagine Havetz Haim passed away almost 100 years ago, and still we're talking about the Havetz Haim now. We're still talking about him, and everybody, by the way. It's Ashkenazim, Sfaradim, it's in every Beit Midrash, Mishnah Berurah, Sefer Havetz Haim. They open up institutions upon his name, Havetz Haim, Havetz Haim, Havetz Haim. How was he zocheh? Don't you want that? Don't you want that? Nothing. Don't you want that after like 300 years? Nothing. How do you do it? But you want that? It's a great thing. No? Isn't it a great thing? Wouldn't you want that? Wouldn't everybody want that? After 300 years the guy passed away, they're still talking about him, the greatest guy who ever lived, legend. Everybody wants it. How did he get it? How? How did Havetz Haim do it? You know what he answered me, Rabbi? He said, we talk about Gan Eden. Yeah, Gan Eden is great, it's the best reward. Take all the pleasures in this world and put it into one pill, swallow the pill, it's more than all the pleasures that you can think of. But the Havetz Haim saw it. He felt it. He felt Gan Eden, and he felt Gehinnom. He felt Gehinnom. He felt when there was an Averah, he felt the sin in front of him. He felt the fire. There was one time a young boy, and he found out that he was Mehalel Shabbat. He's a just amazing story. He found out that nobody could help him. Havetz Haim sat with him for 45 minutes. Speaking to him, he said 45 minutes later, he gets out, this guy became Sadiq. They didn't know what happened. What did he do? He wouldn't tell anybody. Until many years later, before he was passing away, he says, okay, now I'll tell you what the Havetz Haim told me. He said, he started crying. Havetz Haim, holding his hand, started crying. I feel bad. And the tears hit this boy's hand. I feel bad. I feel bad. This hand that's Mehalel Shabbat. I feel bad for this hand. It's going to have to burn in the Gehinnom. I feel bad. I feel so bad for this hand. It has to burn. I feel bad. I feel bad. 45 minutes he's crying. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for this hand. It's going to burn. Heaven forbid. Please keep the Shabbat. Please keep the Shabbat. Don't let it burn. He felt the Gehinnom for this young man from now, before even 120 even passed for this man. How? Because he saw sin that was right in front of himself. It's poison. It's poison. Would you eat poison and die? Imagine the guy eats non-kosher and he feels this is poison. You'll never eat non-kosher. What kind of test is that? Oh no, maybe the French fries is kosher. At the end of the day, they're just frying the French fries. There's the oil and the this and the that, and he makes 100 terim. If I would tell you there's a safek that if you eat one of these chips, you'll die, would you take a chance? Never take a chance. You'll never take a chance because now you believe it because it's real. It's in front of him. It has to be hosh. It has to be there. He says, so challenges that happen in our lives, you have to understand 100,000,000% that you can overcome. How? Just know the reward is even greater. Yeah, it's hard for me to wake up. I can't do it, Rabbi. I can't do it. It's hard for me to know Shas. It's hard for me to learn. It's hard for me to this. It's hard for me to beat Tzniut. You don't know me, Rabbi. I can't beat Tzniut. You don't know. Trust me. If you would see the reward, you would go all out. That's what this Rashi is saying. Rashi is saying, I'm not having it. I'm not having it. When one Rosh Hashiva, I heard this from the Rosh Hashiva myself, who heard it from his father, who was the Rosh Hashiva, who was told this story. Listen to this. The Rosh Hashiva that I was speaking to said about his grandfather that was a Rosh Hashiva that passed away 40 years ago. said that his great-grandfather said this to him. What happened? He said one day, he called him up, he says, Ta, he's called his father Ta. This is like the great-grand, this is what we're talking about like 70, 80 years ago. He says, Ta, I can't. He says, what? He says, I'm working so hard with the Bachurim. I'm working so hard with my Shiurim. I can't even, I'm schwitzing, I'm sweating, I'm this, I'm that. I can't, it's so hard, it's this, it's that. And his father says, I have no Rahmanut on you. I have no mercy on you. He says, what do you mean, Dad? What do you mean? He says, this is what you hear. This is what you hear. Work it. Yeah, it's hard. Work. So, yeah, you have a challenge. And, so now what? That's it? All life stops because you have a challenge? Just know that behind that challenge is such a great reward waiting for you that you'll be able to pass. You'll be able to win it. If you really believe right behind that challenge, the reward is so even greater, you'll be able to pass. And this Rashi is teaching us. Yaakov, remember this, that the tzaddikim are forever and ever getting this amazing reward. If you would see, by the way, if you would take one glance, if they would open up the door for you just to see the reward, I'm telling you right now, you wouldn't be able to live properly because all day long you'll be mitzvot. You're mitzvah machine. You'll be a mitzvah machine. Mitzvah. Nothing in your head will bother you ever again. Nothing in your head. You think, what should I do about this? What should I do with that? We have a guy in the shul like that, no? You know who I'm talking about. You think he's worried about anything? You ask the guy, what's going on? He's saying, and he's all there, he's very good. And he's saying everything, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the best. And then, what happened? Yes, what happened? He said, I believe in Gan Eden. I believe 100%. I believe in Gan Eden. Yeah, we talk about Gan Eden. But do you actually feel it? And this is the lesson. When you feel Gan Eden, when a challenge comes to you, you'll be able to overcome it. Because you'll see the reward right behind that challenge. You'll see the great reward. I'll pass. But at the end of the day, I'll also get this amazing reward. Have a great week.